One leader that I worked with for a very long time and was also a subject of my doctoral research was a guy called Mike. Mike always wanted to be a CEO from when he was a little boy because his dad was CEO and chairman of some big corporations. That was his dream. He didn't even know why. And so when the day finally came, it was a bit of a case of careful what you wish for. Suddenly he felt overwhelmed by the role, very insecure. He tried to project the perfect image to the world, but inside he was in turmoil. He felt like a fraud. He was overwhelmed. Wasn't going well. The turning point came a couple of months in when I met Mike and we started to talk about how he could kind of claim his agenda and fill his space as CEO of a huge corporation with more than 40 offices and all the rest of it. And so we agreed that he would go and do a whole series of town halls to every one of the 40 offices around the world, starting with head office, which is kind of the biggest and most cynical audience. And lots of people were surprised that Mike got the job. He's a bit of an awkward human being, to say the least. But we agreed that Mike would play to his strengths and embrace his imperfections. And Mike had an enormous work ethic. He's very smart. He's very, very humble. And he had a really wonderful, self-effacing sense of humour. So on the very, very first town hall, with all these people in the room, he stood up on stage, this very cynical audience, and the first words out of his mouth were, "I am honoured to be your new CEO, but I'm also quite daunted. I'm not charismatic like my predecessor, but I am deeply committed to our offering, to our customers, and to all of you. I don't have all the answers, and so I need your help. We're going to lead this organisation into the future together." And in 20 seconds, I watched that room transform from cynical and judgmental to embracing Mike. And that was symptomatic of what happened in the weeks and months that followed. Mike went on to create extraordinary levels of discretionary effort and an enormous number of outcomes across a whole litany of measures, but also grew the top and bottom line for 5 consecutive years and went down as one of the best leaders in his organisation's history. And so the lesson I learned, and it was kind of a revelation of my doctoral research, is first and foremost, being authentic is far more important than appearing perfect. Being authentic is far more important than appearing perfect. And secondly, masking is weakness, vulnerability is strength. We've kind of been taught the opposite as we're coming up through the leadership ranks. Act tough and confident and in command. People see through that very quickly. It turns out that our imperfections make us whole, human, and much more interesting to others. You see, they always knew we were imperfect. When we embrace our imperfections, they know we're honest as well. I've also learnt that this is the birthplace of courage and innovation and discretionary effort. This is the real source of power for leaders. Embracing your vulnerability and your authenticity and embracing your imperfections.